I'm Nick Fundytus from Royal LePage Performance Realty, and you're watching The Buyer Blueprint. This is a step-by-step guide on how to buy your first home.
So here we go into the whole overview. The visualization that I'm going for here in the buyer process is a subway map. So the different colored lines are you. You're actually on the blue line over there. And everybody else that might join in is in a different color along the way. That's me in red here, if you can see my cursor. And as you can see, I might not even be part of this process until step 2. The end of the line, that's you as a homeowner. That's where we're trying to get to. So let's go straight on into step 1. This is your preparation stage. This is where you might be at now. And if you're watching this, it probably is where you're at. Cute little red-headed couple that we put here. This is you for the purposes of this demonstration. And your role in this phase is simply to know what you need, know what you want, and know what the difference is between the two. It's also important to know that if you're part of a couple, you need to agree on the things that are your needs and your wants. It's best to do that right off at the beginning. The next person on there is your lender, be it a mortgage broker or somebody at the bank. We'll talk about him as well. So here's you, the buyers. Your job at this stage is simply to make a couple of lists. The first one is, what do you need in a home? These are things like how many bedrooms, how many baths, does it need a garage, do you need parking in general? What part of town do you need to be in? The things that you can't compromise on are your needs. The things that you might be able to compromise on that you would like to have in your home, that's what do you want in a home. Make sure you know what's supposed to actually be on your want list and not on your need list. And then the next question is, what can you comfortably afford? And the key word in here is comfortably. There's a term called being house poor. This is where you're spending all your money on mortgage and the expenses of a home and you don't have any money left over to live. That's not where we're trying to get you at when you're searching for a home. So know your budget and know what you can comfortably afford in a home. And then the last bit, like I said before, just make sure that all the buyers in the process are on the same page. If you're part of a couple and you don't agree with your spouse on what you need and want in a home, I'm going to be selling that house twice. Once when you buy it and once in a few years when you get divorced, I'm going to be helping you sell it. Next person we want to talk about at this phase is just the lender. Now, the lender, for many people think this is the bank. It can also be a mortgage broker. And a mortgage broker works a little bit like a realtor in that they can shop the different lenders. So, your lender, in either case, helps you figure out what you can comfortably afford. Now, I don't get paid by any mortgage brokers or bank managers, but I do tend to refer more mortgage brokers than banks. I put a few notes on the list here, but you can find great professionals at banks and at mortgage brokerages. The key is to get a referral from somebody that you trust, whether that's me, your realtor, or just friends and family that can point you in the right direction with somebody they've personally used and that they trust the services of. I have 3 or 4 of the names that I think do the best work in Ottawa, and I refer them quite often to my clients, and I have no problem referring you to one of those professionals. If you're in Ontario, you can find links to them on my contact page. If you're seeing this from outside of Canada, keep in mind that there are really only a few big banks here, and so that's why it may work a little bit differently than where you're from, or from particularly in the States where there's just thousands and thousands of small banks. Now, as we go through this list, the advantage of the bank is that they typically have a long relationship with you. You may have had an account at that bank since you were a kid. Disadvantage is that they usually only have one suite of products. So if you're here in Canada and you're at TD or you're CIBC, you can only buy a TD mortgage or a CIBC mortgage from that bank. The advantage of a mortgage broker is that they're motivated to become your expert for life. And they can usually shop all of the banks and also what's called monoline lenders. These are entities that operate like banks, but that they operate specifically just to loan money for mortgages, for commercial loans, those type of things. Keep in mind the bank, no matter how good they may be, is not your friend. So the bank is a corporation, it has bottom line profits to protect. That's nothing wrong with the bank, that's what they're supposed to do, but they do not need to act in your best interest. Always remember that. The mortgage broker, if you have a good mortgage broker, is motivated to act in your best interest because what they're looking for is referral and repeat business through you. They want to impress you so much that you're sending your friends and family to them so that they don't need to advertise. They can simply focus on giving a good quality of service to you. And I have found through many transactions that mortgage brokers tend to be a little bit more educated on the market and a little bit better at educating you, the purchaser, on what you need to know. In short, a really great mortgage broker can often get you a better rate at your own bank than you can even as a long-time client. Now, when you go meet with your lender, we're going to talk about what your first meeting is going to look like. They're going to ask you to bring in some documents and basically have a good idea of what you make, what you owe, so you can give them that picture and they can create a financial snapshot and give you an idea of how much you can borrow as a mortgage and therefore how much you can afford in a home. You're going to need to learn things about fixed versus variable rates, term lengths, and of course what kind of rates are available out on the market. To wrap this stage up here, you, the buyers, just need to take inventory of your needs and wants. Your lender is going to pre-approve the buyers or pre-approve you. And just the summary here is just to say, develop your financial picture and know what you need and want in a home. And that concludes stage one, that's preparation. For more links and more information on this, just scroll down and you can get the links to our resources page. And we're on to stage two.
Thanks for watching that video. To see the other steps in the series of the Buyer Blueprint, simply go to nickfundytus.ca and look at our resources page.